Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're doing great. Let's get right into it. We can start by creating a beige background. And on top of that layer, we're going to create what looks like a water layer. So water in front of the beige background, in terms of the beige background being the sky. And then we'll color in. Now we're going to create a layer that stands between the water and the background. That will be used for the mountains in the distance. So let's create a layer between those two. And we're going to maintain our use of aesthetic soft colors so we can get the effect that we're looking for. We're quickly going to add in another layer just to put another mountain on the right side, just to kind of balance out the scenery. We're going to repeat that for a couple more layers just to give a good balance and an interchange between the mountains to create the effect that we're looking for. We're going to go back to creating a layer on top of the first layer, the background, that we'll use for the sun and the sky and maybe the clouds and a few other things. Another layer for the clouds, and we'll use a soft whitish color that's kind of similar to the sky, because in the sunset the clouds actually kind of conform to the color of the sky. Now to work on the layers in front of the water. I admit working with layers might be difficult, but trust me, it makes your work a lot easier, especially coming up with this kind of aesthetic. So we're gonna draw the soft greens in front, and we're gonna layer them just like we did with the mountains. So just kind of pay attention, kind of go with your color, go with your gut on how you want the colors to deepen and transition as you go deeper into the painting. Then we add another layer for the greens on the right side of the painting. We're gonna start with a sandy texture that kind of fades into that green texture, and then we'll add more layers as we proceed into the more darker sides of that painting on the right side there. Also, feel free to use the color scheme you already used on the left side. Use the color picker tool to kind of get what colors you use. Just tap that button there and then drag. We're going to make sure to trim the edges there, just to make sure we polish the image. We're going to make it a little lifelike, just to reflect what we'd actually see beside a body of water. So maybe a tree or something growing off the sort besides those greens. Make sure you get the right layer to put the tree underneath and between. And then you also have to create another layer to actually draw the branches and stuff to, like the trees and leaves and stuff, to make it look as aesthetic as possible. Just try to follow exactly what I'm doing. And now for some final touches, create a layer above the water, and we're gonna create some shadows and reflections just to kind of create that more realistic effect, but still maintaining our aesthetic. And feel free to use a lighter tone of blue, a slightly darker tone of blue, and maybe for where the reflections would be, a slightly lighter shade of blue. And yeah, you just follow along and do exactly what I do, and you're gonna get the aesthetic. You can now merge all the layers and head to adjustments, hue, saturation, and brightness, and kind of adjust the color to the way you want it. Maybe you want it a little deeper and a little brighter, which you can do, and just according to your taste, and we are done.